Hello there, I'm Astronomaestro. I'm currently a graduate student at Cornell University studying astronomy. Yes, the very same Cornell that Andy from The Office went to, but also the same one that Carl Sagan used to teach at as well. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about Oumuamua today, and a few of the things that have been discussed around Oumuamua. So, I wanted to cover it because it's an exciting object. It was the first detected object from outside the solar system. It's also caused quite a bit of controversy, and as such, there's no way I can cover everything. The reason why it's caused controversy is because one of the hypotheses presented was that it was alien in nature. Now, that wasn't the only reason it was controversial, namely because there was many theories proposed as to what was happening with this object. But I guess on a technicality, you could actually say because it comes from outside of the solar system, it is indeed alien. But that wasn't what was proposed, that it was actually of alien origin. And now the reason why we say we know that it comes from outside the solar system is that its orbit is hyperbolic, meaning that once it passes the sun, it's not going to come back at any point in time. It's just going to go and fly out in space endlessly until maybe it meets something else. Another interesting tidbit is that it was going really fast. Very, very fast. And just to give you an idea of the energy behind its speed, if we calculate the kinetic energy, turns out to be 1 × 10⁻17 joules-ish with these rough numbers. And so if we modify the trajectory of Oumuamua a little bit and have it actually strike the Earth, it's gonna cause some damage because 1 × 10⁻17 joules is enough energy to be roughly equivalent to what the Tsar Bomba released when it was detonated. And the Tsar Bomba did quite a bit of damage and was a multi-city level of destruction in terms of the energy released. And speaking of aliens, if a higher intelligence were to view this video and enjoy it, they would realize, wow, I really like this and I want more. I need to click the like and subscribe button so that I get more content in the future. But back to the original topic about Oumuamua being alien or coming from outside the solar system. I would say let's go over some things that we know about it. The first thing we know is that it's tumbling. It's oddly shaped. It has a reddish color. It is accelerating away from us, and we can't seem to see any gases or dust. Now, the more controversial bits that have caused a lot of the controversy is that it is accelerating away from us more than we would expect, and we don't see any gases or dust, which should accompany an object which is accelerating away from us the way that it is. And so this type of acceleration can be caused by something known as a comet coma, which happens when the sun heats up something like ice and dust on a space rock, and it then gets ejected in this brilliant coma, is what we call it. But we don't actually see a comet coma, so it's hard to say that this is what is causing this acceleration to happen. Another way spurious accelerations can occur is when a space rock gets much closer to the sun than it usually is, and it starts heating up, and it has gases and such trapped inside of it. And these gases, when they heat up, they'll want to be ejected, and as they are ejected, they can cause acceleration, which should also lead to a long comet-like tail as before. But we don't actually see any of this happening. And now, if it is outgassing, which is causing this space object to accelerate, because it's so oddly shaped, it is fairly reasonable to expect that this outgassing would not only cause it to accelerate, but it should cause the spin of the object to change as well. But we don't actually see the spin changing much outside of what we would normally expect. And now another hypothesis would be that there was a bunch of hydrogen ice, which, as this object got close to the sun, it got blasted away. And this would be very, very difficult to detect on our instruments, which means that this could cause it to accelerate. But there was a paper which also came out which says that this type of hydrogen ice should have been long destroyed by interstellar space before it got to the sun. Now, hopefully I have conveyed the idea that there are many hypotheses on Oumuamua with nothing quite concrete. And there is one more hypothesis that has to do with solar wind. And the idea with solar wind is that when you have photons or particles of light strike an object, those particles of light will actually push that object, accelerate it a little bit. And the question was, could you explain Oumuamua's acceleration using only solar wind? Is that, yes, you could model Oumuamua like this and say that it is only solar wind which is causing the acceleration. But you would have to say that it is only as thick as a few pieces of paper, which obviously is not a very natural thing to occur. And in fact, it's so unnatural that you might reasonably say that it would be a manufactured object. And if it's manufactured, then that would mean that some other civilization manufactured this thing. And so the solar sail hypothesis hasn't really been disproven yet. So are aliens confirmed? Not really. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for aliens. And given that we exist, that is proof that aliens could exist out there. And even NASA does a lot of work and spends a lot of money. And so it's a big claim to say that you have discovered alien life. And because it's such a big claim, we want to make sure that we are 100% positive before we say anything concrete. And just to go over the few counterpoints to it being a solar sail, if we have such a thin piece of material going through space, which space can be quite violent, why wasn't it destroyed during this incredibly long journey that it had undergone? Now, at least for me, a bigger concern would be that you could model many objects in the solar system as a solar sail. And you could probably get it to line up with your data, but that doesn't actually mean that it's a solar sail. It just means that the model fits the points on the graph. And now, aliens are a cool idea, and I mean, it would be awesome if this thing was actually from an alien civilization. But you gotta remember, we want to be 100% sure. And I can't say that we're definitely not 100% sure that it's an alien solar sail. There are many good hypotheses, but at least I can't see anything that's been conclusively proven. And so that leads us back to the question, so what exactly is Oumuamua then? And if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I don't really know. Probably some sort of crazy space rock doing some pretty crazy stuff. And my take on it is that Oumuamua is long gone and has been for a while. And because it's gone, it's hard to get any more data. And now we can always come up with more theories and more hypotheses. But until an Oumuamua 2.0 flies by, at least for me, it'll be hard to come to any real concrete conclusions. And now, thanks for sticking around. If you really liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, because not only does the higher intelligence realize that they should do so, it really does motivate me to keep on making content when people like my stuff. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.